All right. So welcome to our session 53 today. We are on the chapter of Raja Vidya Raja Guhyam, which is also called as the most confidential knowledge. So in our systematic study of Bhagavad Gita, where we go chapter by chapter, verse by verse, and in section 53, we have reached 53 today, where we are discussing and continuing our discussions based on Raja Vidya Raja Guhyam teachings of the Lord, which is the most confidential knowledge. And we continue our journey in our great Goloka Express, all of us in one family. And this Goloka Express is taking us surely to Goloka Vrindavan, which is our ultimate destination. And Krishna is now revealing different types of worshippers, of Krishna. And previously, in the previous sessions, he explained about the Ekatvena, and now he's explaining about Prataktvena and Vishwato Mukham type of worshippers. We will do a little bit of recap so that whoever has missed the previous session can catch up also, not a problem. Okay, so this is the ninth station, Rajavidya Rajaguhyam. So before I begin, let me pay my humble obeisances to my dear spiritual master, His Holiness Bhakti Swarupa Damodar Swami Maharaj, who is the founding director of Bhakti Vedanta Institute, and which is the scientific wing of ISKCON. And along with him, there is Srila Prabhupada always. And in between, you see the picture is of my Guru Maharaj's Samadhi Mandir in Radhakund. Om Jnana Timirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Gadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam Namao Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Swarupa Damodar Swami Te Namini Namasad Bhaktamani Manipur Udbhavaya Cha Srila Prabhupada Lastavani Pracharini Ratayate Namao Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Te Namini Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharini Nirvisesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarni जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवास आदि श्री गौर भक्त वृंदा हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे. So once again welcoming all, and then the acronym for this chapter, that is chapter 9, is called King, where K stands for the knowledge, which is covered, that is glories of the knowledge of bhakti, which is covered in verses 1 to 3. I stands for inconceivable relationship, which is covered from verses 4 to 10. And N stands for numerous different types of worshippers of the Lord, which we are in currently discussing. That is from verses 11 to 25. And G stands for glories of bhaktis. So which will come in the next session onwards, verses 26 to 34. Okay. All right. So we are discussing today from verses 18 to 23, which falls in this category of N, that is numerous worshippers. And as a quick recap of what we have done till now, this chapter is called Raja Vidya Raja Guhyam. And as you know, this chapter has 34 verses, out of which we covered 1 to 3 in the Golden Jubilee, famous Golden Jubilee session, that is session number 50, which was covered by Amrinder Prabhu. And in that session, he explained why it is called Guhya Tamam, because this Vidya is Raja Guhya is Guhya Tamam, and there is something called as Guhya, that is confidential, Guhya Tara, which is more confidential, and Guhya Tamam, which is most confidential. So in this section, Krishna is explaining the most confidential knowledge. So therefore, you can understand the importance of this teachings right now, which is coming from Krishna to Arjuna. And one of the main reasons why Krishna gave this knowledge of Raja Guhyam to Arjuna was also explained in that verse, the first verse itself, where Krishna says that I'm giving this knowledge to you because you are non-envious at heart. So that is one of the prerequisites for receiving this knowledge. Anasuyave, he had mentioned. So that is non-enviousness. And then in verse 2, the complete characteristics, 8 different uh, you can say adjectives were used to explain the knowledge of bhakti or the glories of knowledge. And in that, there is Rajaguhyam, Rajavidya, Rajaguhyam, king of knowledge, the most confidential knowledge, Pavitram, pure, Uttamam, the topmost knowledge, and then uh, Prataksha Gamam. That means the direct, you can perceive it directly or you can experience it directly when you follow Dharmyam. That is, you are following a proper Dharma, then you can get the proper experience of this knowledge. And it is Susukam. It is very joyful to practice, and it is also Avyayam. That means it is everlasting. So, like that, 8 different adjectives, selected adjectives were used by Krishna to explain the glories of the knowledge of bhakti. And then we went on to explain the verses 9.4 to 9.10, which was covered under session number 51, which was primarily Krishna was explaining. This is the knowledge that is explaining is Aishwarya Nyan. That is 4 to 10, he covered the Aishwarya Nyan part of it. That is basically the mystic opulence of the Lord, in which Krishna explained how he is simultaneously present in this universe and not present also. Okay, Maya Tatam Idam Sarvam Jagat Avyaktam Murtina. That means he is actually Avyakta. That means he is not manifested in the form that he's there in Goloka Vrindavan, in spiritual world, but he is present as his energy. So through his energy, he is pervading all over the universe, so he is present that way. And so we different analogies were discussed in that also. Like for example, we discussed about the electricity. We are not able to see the electricity. Electricity is the cause of all the lights and all, but the electricity is running through the wire that we are not able to see. But what we are seeing is the unmanifested form of it, isn't it? And similarly, we saw about the analogy of air. Air is present everywhere. Air is required for this atmosphere for our sustenance, but yet we are not able to, it's not visible to our material eyes. And we also discussed about the analogy of sunlight. Sunlight is present everywhere, but sun is not leaving his abode. From his abode, he is giving the light to everyone. So he is present there, he is present here also. He is present here in the form of light. So that is, and then we also discussed about the example of how a king, through his policies, through his various departments, he's nicely managing the affairs of the entire kingdom. But he doesn't have to be physically present in every place. But when we see something is working very orderly manner, we know that this is because of the king. So in that way, we can understand that Maya Tatam Idam Sarvam Jagat Avyakta Murtina. That means he is present in this material world through his energy. And Mastani Sarva Bhutani Na Chaham Teshva Avasthita. That means I'm present in everyone's, in every living being, Sarva Bhutani, as what? Paramatma. But Na Chaham Teshva Avasthita. And yet I am not present in this material universe. So it means that Krishna is not dependent upon this material universe because he is outside the material universe, and all the people inside the material universe, all the living beings are dependent upon him. So that is what we understood from this. And then what else we discussed? Yeah, in this Aishwarya we also discussed about how Krishna creates, maintains, and annihilates the innumerable universes through his expansions in the form of Karno Dakshaya Vishnu, Garbho Dakshaya Vishnu, Shiro Dakshaya Vishnu. In that connection, we also spoke about the potter. A potter very nicely designs a pot, gives it a shape, but the ingredients are basically all the mud. The mud he's taking and then he's giving it a nice shape and it becomes a pot. And then maybe after some time there's a wear and tear. The pot is used for different purposes, and then the pot breaks, and finally it goes back into the mud only. So in that way, the universes are created and annihilated and also maintained by the sheer potency of the Lord. And then we also discussed how the various living beings and the planets are resting upon the Lord. In that, the metaphor given by the Lord was yat akasha sthito nityam vayu sarvatra. That means how the wind is present everywhere, but it is resting on the sky. The wind is blowing everywhere. It is not in a single place. And wherever it goes, it is within the boundary of the sky. It cannot go beyond that. So, tata sarvani bhutan. So, similar way, all the created beings, be it living beings or be it land, water, tree, mountains, or any, planets, upper planets, lower planets, whatever, everything ultimately matstani. They are actually resting on the Lord. So this is what we covered in the session 51, that is Aishwaranyana. And then the last session, that is session 52, we covered primarily uh, the different types of worshippers. Who are the types of worshippers? And so in that we covered under 11 and 12, we covered primarily the people. That is, basically the people, there are two types of people. One is they are basically mudas or the fools. These people are mudas because they cannot understand the Lord's transcendental nature. They cannot understand. So they cannot, that therefore they do not accept that Krishna is the supreme personality of Godhead, and he is the owner or proprietor of all the entire universes. So their knowledge is completely deluded because of the they are basically caught in the Maya, material energy. So Prakriti Mohinim Ashrita. So they are actually under the shelter of material energy of the Lord Mahamaya, and as a result they cannot understand the transcendental nature of the Lord. For example, when Krishna himself was physically present in this planet, Shishupal thought that this Krishna's Govardhan Leela pastimes is nothing but just Krishna is picking up a lump of mud. And similarly when he subdued Kalia, the biggest possible snake with so many thousands of hoods, at that time Shishupal said that, oh, he is just playing with the water snake. So in that way, they try to make fun or deride over the Lord's supremacy. And then there are another category of people who basically think God is completely impersonal. Because God has got no form. He is just basically like an impersonal light, super Brahman. And therefore, through that, he is present everywhere. And he has got no form, no attributes, so therefore, but they are not able to see the person behind this effulgence. So as a result, they get bewildered, and then so they continue to basically proceed in the wrong direction because of this bewilderment of Maya. They keep proceeding in the wrong direction, and as a result, what happens is they Krishna gives them the forgetfulness also. The Krishna does not want such people to know about him because there is no inclination for them to know also, and accordingly, Krishna says Tatastu. And as a result, they get attracted over a period of time to atheism or to demonic nature. And they get caught in this moga asha, moga karmano, and all those things. No, they're baffled, and the real knowledge is never cultivated, and all those things keep on happening. So, in fact, in Bhagavatam, there is a very interesting in Srimad Bhagavatam, there is a very interesting thing that is mentioned, that two types of people in this world are the most happy people. Interestingly, one of them is mudas also. So Bhagavatam says that yascha muda tamo loke yascha buddhe param gata. That means these two categories. One is the mudas, other categories are the liberated, that is Paramahamsas. These two categories are most happy people in this planet. And the one who in between, like us, we are neither there nor here. Hmm? We are the people who are all the time suffering. Why the Mudas are all the time happy? Because they don't have intelligence, and they are completely all the time in the mode of ignorance. And because they are in the mode of ignorance, they don't even know what suffering is. They are in the other extreme actually. For example, the hog, enjoys in stool, but the hog does not know that the stool is not to be something that is to be enjoyed, but it is enjoying. But the person who is not a hog, who is outside that, he knows how degraded this hog is in its life. So similarly, these mudas, they enjoy all this kind of filthy place of sex enjoyment at every available opportune moment, and they keep on working day in and day out very hard for their existence, just like a hog, and fully unaware of the miseries of human life. Because they are brought down to such low standards that they have got no sense of miseries, and as a result, they are supposedly enjoying. But that is not what we want to. We want to go towards the Paramahamsas. So we are in between now. We experience the suffering, and then we wanted to come out of the suffering. So for that, we want knowledge. And with the knowledge, with the information that we get, we try to, you know, bring about the transformation in our hearts. And that is what verses 11 and 12 give us. Now comes the important thing which I had asked in yesterday's chat. This verses 13 and 14 are giving and revealing something very, very, you know, uh, special. Now, most of you, many people have answered it. Many people have actually made an attempt to answer. And now, what has happened is all of you have thought more or less in a similar direction. That is, you'll have studied the verse, and you'll have tried to understand the meaning of the verse of Mahatma, and you'll have tried to bring out the essence in that explanation, which is good. I'm not saying it is a wrong answer. It is very good. So several responses. But I'm giving one last chance right now in this forum. If anybody wants to think out of the box, which they could not think until yesterday or whatever, you have one chance now. Just raise your hand and throw up a guess, wild guess. I'm looking for something very, very. It's very simple. If I show you the answer, you will think, "Oh my God, how did I not think this?" Okay. So anybody wants to take a guess can raise the hand immediately and make an attempt. Otherwise, I can. Yes, Saptadeep, you have raised the hand. What do you want to share? And Srinidhi also has
Hare
raised.
Krishna Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna.
Okay. Dhanavad Pranav. Yeah,
Yes.
that you have to that one major specialty of Mahatma, according to me, is that they are always under the protection of the divine transcendental nature. That is one thing. Means they are always in the divine nature only. The material nature is has no effect on them. That is a Mahatma. No, means they don't even come in the contact with material nature. Even if they come here in this world for even a split second, they are always in the transcendental nature. That is one thing, under the protection of the divine nature of Krishna, because they are always Krishna conscious.
Okay. See, again, your explanation is right. I'm not saying, but what I am looking for is you're actually quite close. I wanted little bit more explanation on that and make it very simple. And okay, let's give Srinidhi a chance first. Let's see what she has to say.
Hare Krishna,
Keep it.
Prabhuji,
Hare Krishna. Yes.
I'm sorry for them outside. I don't know my voice is reaching out.
Yeah. It's quite clear. Go
Yeah.
ahead.
Actually, in the 13th verse, Krishna introduces the title of Mahatma, and in the 14th, he describes the qualities of the Mahatma. And in that, I read that Mahatma, he's a he's a personality where he's so attached to Krishna that he's more attached to 200 form of Krishna that he even rejects the Vishwarup of Krishna. So even the 400 form of Krishna, Even when Arjuna asks Krishna to show his universal form, and later he says to Krishna that, "Oh Krishna, I'm afraid, please come back to your 200 form." So that shows Arjuna is a Mahatma. So maybe this I. Thank you, Hare Krishna.
All right. So you have also gone on to explain about the significance of Mahatma and their qualities. But my question is, in entire Bhagavad Gita, there are many verses, no, which describe about Mahatma. There are so many verses. So why should it make verses 13 and 14, I mean 9.13 and 9.14 special? That is what I was looking for, something, which is not there, I can assure you, in any of the 700 verses. That is what I was looking for. Okay.
Prabhuji, can I say?
Yeah, sure.
Okay.
It describes about Srimati Radharani.
Jai.
Jai.
Jai. That is what I was doing for. You're on the dot. Okay. So this answer has got, actually, I'm looking for two parts of the answer. You are spot on one part. There is also another part which I'll reveal now. Very good. I think all of us should give her a big round of applause.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji, Dhanvat Pranams.
Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna.
Prabhuji, just one attempt I want to make.
Yeah, sure, Manisha, go ahead.
Mataji mentioned about Radharani. So just referring to that, devotees are under the protection of the internal potency, and non-devotees are generally under the potency of external energy.
Fantastic. I think you also answered in a very you're spot on. You're spot on. You further expanded upon what Srinidhi has said. Very good. I think both of you deserve a because I'm really happy. Okay. Now you see what I'm going to show here now. Just see. This will be very interesting and you will never forget this throughout your life. You want to see the answer? Yes?
Yes, Prabhuji. Yes.
Okay. Okay, here it comes. So this is what actually I was looking for. Verses 9.13 and 14 represent the epicenter of Bhagavad Gita. Center of the center. See, before this 9.13, there are 349 verses. After 9.14, there are 349 verses. And in between, you have got these two verses. And these two are the verses that speak about Radharani. There is nowhere else this will come because, see, this is the epicenter. Now, if you see here carefully, Mahatmastu Mam Partha Daivim Prakritim Ashrita. So Daivim Prakritim is basically the internal energy or the internal potency of the Lord, which is Radharani in Goloka, which is Lakshmi Devi in Vaikunta, and which is Sita Devi in Ayodhya. So whichever approach you take, ultimately this is the ultimate. So Radharani is being described here, Daivim Prakritim. So as Manisha said, the Mahatmas, they take shelter of Daivim Prakritim, and the Mudas or the Asuras or the fools, they take shelter of Maya, Mahamaya. So this is Yoga Maya, or this is actual internal energy, and the external energy is Mahamaya. So this is the main difference, material nature and spiritual nature. The spiritual nature, internal energy is Radharani, and this is what actually, and then further this verse also says that, as all of you have guessed, Mahatmas are under the shelter of Srimad Radharani. Their main activity is that they perform devotional service without any distraction, and they do this with an understanding that they know Krishna as the cause of everything that is inexhaustible. Bhajanti ananyo manaso nyatva bhutadim avyayam. So this is very important principle. This is the principle of the Mahatmas. But what we were trying to emphasize in the quiz is that what is special about 13 and 14, 9.13 and 14 in the context of the entire Bhagavad Gita. That is, it is the epicenter. So you can imagine Krishna is keeping Radharani, his internal potency, in the epicenter of this entire Bhagavad Gita. So this is the beginning of Bhakti Yoga. We should understand this one crux of this important statement, that if you can understand that we have to move from Mahamaya to basically Daivi Prakriti Ashrita, then we are actually in the safe zone. So such people are like people who get transformed. That means ordinary Atma gets transformed to Mahatma. And then, of course, in 9.14, he goes on to say, Satatam Kirtayanto Mam Yatantascha Dhilavrata. So basically, they do this Kirtan all the time. Always they are doing Kirtan and with determination. They do this with determination. Okay. And you can see here, they do not get distracted. They all the time, they surrender to Krishna and they do it as a devotional service. And they become free thus from the clutches of Maya, that is material nature. And such a Mahatma all the time remembers Krishna and he stays in the association of great devotees. So this is what actually we have to understand, because Satatam Kirtayanto also means there are 4 types of Kirtan, by the way: Nama Kirtan, Rupa Kirtan, Guna Kirtan, and Leela Kirtan. So anytime, now traditionally we understand that Nama Kirtan, which we sit and do, that's like the real Kirtan. But even when you're doing Rupa Kirtan, you're trying to understand the glories of the Lord's form. That's also, and glorify the Krishna's form. That's also Kirtan. When you glorify Krishna's qualities, that's also Kirtan, Guna Kirtan. When you try to glorify Krishna's pastimes, that is also Kirtan, Leela Kirtan. So all that, is Satatam Kirtayantomam. This is a complete thing. And such people who do this all the time, not once, all the time. Hare Nama, Hare Nama, Hare Nama, Kevalam, Kalo Nasti, Iva Nasti, Iva Nasti, Gatir, Anyatha. There's no other way to save us except the Krishna's name and his qualities, his pastimes, and his Leela, everything. Paraphernalia. So that is Mahatma. Okay, we move on. So thanks all once again for wonderful participation. But Srinidhi and Manisha will get a special certificate because they came. So Saptadeep came very close, and also some of the other people who have sent me a reply, like Sumati Mataji, then our Abhijit Prabhu, and a few others. I think Pooja Mataji also wrote to me. All of you came very close, but you all were explaining on Mahatma. And the point what I was looking for is Radharani. Daivim Prakriti Ashrita is Radharani. That point and the epicenter point. These two represents the 14 and 15. Okay. Then in the 15 and 16, what we covered was the different types of jnanis who worship Krishna. So in that we discussed about the Ekatvena people who worship Krishna thinking in such a way that they understand that I'm not this body, I'm the soul. And then eventually they think this soul is the spiritual nature itself is Krishna. So let's directly worship. So in other words, they come to a stage that they start worshipping themselves because their own Atma they're worshipping as the Lord. And as a result, they think I am also God. So that is a very dangerous position. That is Ekatvena. And then in Prataktvena, they worship different types of demigods, and they try to derive the benefits of worshipping different types of demigods. And they don't understand that these demigods are actually the representatives of the Lord. They are empowered supervisors or administrators. So it is not the highest form of worship. It's an indirect worship. And the third category, which was covered in the verse 15, was Vishwato Mukam. That means they see the entire universe as the manifestation itself as God. So that includes all the planets, it includes mountains, rivers, trees, etc. And they fail to see the person from whom it is emanating, or the person who is beyond this universe, that they are not able to see, unfortunately. So as a result, they restrict themselves to the creation part, but not the creator. So that is more about this Vishwato Mukham will be covered in the 11th chapter. Okay. And more about this Ekatvena will be covered in the 12th chapter. And about this Prataktvena, that is diversity in worship, that is demigod worship, etc., will be covered Some of it will be covered today in this chapter itself, and some will be covered in the next session. Okay, so then, yeah, so this is about again about Ekatvena people who understand that I am not this body and I am soul, and then they start worshipping the soul, and then this Prataktvena, they start worshipping different devatas, and they try to derive different benefits, material benefits out of that. And then finally, the Vishwato Mukam people who try to worship the nature itself as a manifestation, as the universe itself as a manifestation of the Supreme Personality of God. Then from 16 to 19, there's a complete, the 4 verses cover the description about these type of worshippers, that is worshippers of Vishwatamukam, that is they consider universe itself as a god. In that 16 and 17 was covered in the last session. 18 and 19 will be continued today. So in 16, we covered that Krishna says, I am this, I am that, and the 8 different ways he says, I am this, aham word is used. So in that he says, I am the ritual, I am the sacrifice, I am the offerings that you make for the ancestors, I am the healing herbs, medicinal herbs, I am the transcendental mantra, I am the clarified butter, I am Agni, I am offerings, and all those things. Everything is given. In other words, Krishna is giving a clarity. But the people who are worshipping in these forms, they just worship, like, each of these, they are offering it and thinking that that is Krishna. But ultimately, Krishna says, all these benefits come to me directly. I mean, if you worship me directly, it can come to me. Don't need to do it individually like that. So it's a slightly like, they are not wrong, because when Krishna says that I am this, I am that, it really means that these are the various forms in which Krishna is present. So, but at the same time, to worship in that form is not a complete understanding. We should go beyond that as a person. And then in verse 17, he says again that aham comes 8 times, 8 more times, where he says, I am the father, I am the mother, I am the support, I am the grandsire, I am the object of knowledge, I am the purifier, I am the syllable Om, and I am the 3 Vedas. So all that. So ultimately, all these are coming from Krishna. Okay, he is the origin. He is the source. He is the maintainer, sustainer. Like when you, example, like a cake, when you go to make a cake, there are various ingredients you need to make the cake. The final product is coming as a cake. But the cake, if you start saying that, this ingredients itself is a cake, then it is incomplete. The ingredients are needed to make a cake, but after it comes the finished product. So like that, Krishna is beyond all these ingredients. Even though he says, I am this, I am that. So when he says, I am this, I am that, he is ultimately saying that I am this entire universe. So people take that as a word and they start worshipping in one form or the other, and then they think he's Krishna. So with that, we enter into we continue with the Vishwarupa Upasana or Vishwato Mukam in the 18th verse. And the verse is Gatir Bharta Prabhu Sakshi Nivasaha Sharanam Suhrit Prabhava Pralaya Sthanam Nidanam Bijam Avyayam. So in this verse, he is wonderfully explaining how he is the all-pervading ultimate shelter and the cause of all causes. In other words, you can say that this is a definition of God. God, G-O-D, generator, organizer, and destroyer. This is how we can understand. So he's the source of everything. So in absolute terms of relationship or everything around us, this is a verse to meditate on the absolute truth. So in one sense, you can say it's the essence and the goal and the sustenance, the foundation of everything that we see in this universe is ultimately Krishna. So, so there are different adjectives that Krishna has used to describe about himself here. 13 different adjectives have been used. So let us explore it one by one. So here he says, I am the goal, the sustainer, the master, the witness, the abode, the refuge, the most dear friend, the creation, annihilation, the basis of everything, the resting place, and the eternal seed. Okay, so let's take a deep dive into this. I've given 4 different colors here for the first 4 adjectives. So we can see here, Gatir Bharta Prabhu Sakshi, these 4 words. So I'm the goal, sustainer, master, and things. So first thing is Gatir. So Gatir means actually what? The goal, destination, you can say. So typically our scriptures, they describe, scriptures, Vedic scriptures, they describe 4 primary goals. The 4 primary, we call as Chatur Purushartha. That is Dharma, Artha, Kama, and Moksha. Dharma means religiosity. Artha is wealth, how to make wealth. Kama is to fulfill your desires. And finally, after fulfilling these 3, you try to go towards moksha or the liberation. So quite often what happens is, many of them, they get stuck in dharma artha kama, dharma artha kama, dharma artha kama. They don't go beyond this, and as a result what happens is they try to worship demigods. They perform rigid rituals which are required for the demigod worships, and they try to enter into different planets without realizing that these are all creations of Krishna only. And it's an indirect way. Like Prabhupada gives an example of staircase versus escalator or elevator. Elevator is a direct way to reach Krishna in the 108th floor. Okay, that is the lift process. Directly you press the button 108, you go to 108 Goloka Vrindavan. Then staircase means first floor, second floor, third floor, fourth floor, fifth floor, you go up to 108. It is time consuming. And sometimes you're tired, you rest there only because you don't have the energy to go. And sometimes you make some more desires, then you come down again. So Krishna says, the Bhagavatam says, so beyond this Vedic scriptures, Bhagavatam says there is also Pancha Purushartha. Pancha Purushartha is what? The 5th goal. That's the most important goal. That is Krishna Prem. Our real goal as devotees is not to get stuck in this dharma, artha, kama, moksha. Moksha is just, getting some sort of a liberation from material world. But again, you get, stuck in this heavenly planets and all that. But the real goal is to come to the stage of Krishna Prem. That is Pancha Purushartha. That should be the ultimate destination. That's why in Goloka Express, we keep saying this Goloka Express is taking us to Goloka Vrindavan, where every step is a dance, every word is a song, and every day is a festival. So that is the Krishna Prem. Gamayati iti gatiti. That means Gamayati. That means we want to go, travel. The ultimate goal is Krishna. Vasudeva Paraveda. There's a verse in Bhagavatam. Vasudeva Paraveda. So although people do not realize this, they are indirectly trying to reach somewhere to the liberation because they want to come out of this material miseries. So it sounds good, but in the ultimate way, it's like, the moksha is just a zero state where you want to eliminate all the material miseries, but you are still not getting there. That is getting to the stage of loving Krishna, getting the stage of eternal service. Krishna prema mai Radha, Radha prema mayo Hari, Jivane nidane nityam, Radha Krishno gatir mama. That is our real gati. So that is what we should aim for. So Krishna says here that in this material world, we should fix him as the goal because he is the sustainer. The sustainer is the next one, that is Bhrata. So you can see a Bharta. Bharta means he is a sustainer. So he who sustains is Bharta. And through that he gives plenty of happiness, Sukham. Sukham comes from, because when he's sustaining, he also gets happiness, and the people who are sustained are also getting happiness. So in Chaitanya Charitamrita, Mahaprabhu says that Ekale Ishware Krishna, Are Sab Bhritya. That means there is only one supreme controller, Ishvara. Ishvara is supreme controller, and all others are his servants. That means all these demigods and everything is servants. So in that mood, we should think that our goal should be to go to Golok Vrindavan, and our goal should be to serve the Lord, because He is the ultimate protector, is the ultimate sustainer. And the third thing is Prabhu, because He is the Lord. Prabhu means He is the Lord, He is the master. So Ekale Ishvara Krishna, He is the master. So why not we serve the master? So like servants, we should serve the master. Then he is also the Sakshi. He is a witness. He witnesses everything, good, bad, whatever is there, because he has a Paramatma is sitting in our heart. Shubh, Ashubh. He is able to see everything. And from him comes the remembrance, from him comes the memory. Mata smriti jnanam apohanam cha, he says. So therefore, he has to see. And in Bhagavad Gita, in 13th chapter, it also says he is Upadrishta, Anumanta. He's Upadrishta means he's the overseer and he's also a sanctioner. So in this way, we should understand that these four things, that is Gatir, Bharto, Prabhu, Sakshi, that should be our ultimate thing. Then we go to the next set of three adjectives, that is Nivasaha Sharanam Surat. So what is that? So Nivasaha is abode. So he gives us the shelter, Krishna Loka, Go Loka, whatever, abodes, Vaikuntha Loka. So Jivas can stay. There is Bhuloka also for us to stay. There is Swarga Loka also. So there are different residences, countries, planets. And you can imagine, ultimately, each and every universe comes out from Mahavishnu's breathing. So he is the ultimate. Several universes emanate from his body. So he is the Nivasa. Then he is also the Sharanam. He is the object of our surrender. Okay. He is the ultimate refuge. Surrender. Let us take shelter of this great personality, Supreme Personality of Godhead. Just the way that Draupadi, when she was in distress, how did she just called out Krishna's name, and Krishna appeared there in Vastra avatar as a sari. And so Draupadi was begging to all the dharmic people also there, but nobody came to help her. So ultimately, her cries reached up to Krishna, and then Krishna came, and Dushasan could not succeed in his endeavor. The sari length kept on coming, and he had to give up. Similarly, Gajendra couldn't free himself from the clutches of crocodile. For 1000 celestial years, he was under the clutches of crocodile. No one could protect. Even the Swargalok, that is the demigods, Devatas could not, they were seeing him from top, but they could not protect him. They had the ability to protect him, but they could not protect him. Gajendra's own family members, the other elephants, they could not protect him. They had the intent to protect, but they did not have the abilities. The Devatas had the ability, but did not have the intent to protect him. As a result, he had no option but to scream, cry to the personality of Godhead. And Krishna came directly, because Krishna has the intention, he has the ability, capability, both. So when we call out his name, he comes, and then Kamba Dayalum Sharanam Brajema. So he automatically comes and then helps in under all situations. He is our so we should surrender to him. Then he is our well-wisher. He is Surut. So Surut is a beautiful word. So in English, if you have to describe a friend, there's only one way to describe, that is a friend. Oh, he's my close friend. He's my very, very close friend. That's all. Beyond that, you cannot express anything further. Whereas in Sanskrit, you can explain as a mitra, somebody who's like a formal friend in the office, with whom you can share few things, but not everything. Then there is bandhu. You can go one step closer. You can share a few secrets with him. You can depend upon him. Then there is saka. Saath mein khana, sakha. So you can go one step further. You can eat with that person. He's that close to you. You can cook for him. You can serve him. He is a true well-wisher. You can even wash his plate. And then there is Surut. Surut is all the above, plus one who supports you at all the time. You can call him in the night time. You can call him in the daytime. You can call him in distress. You can speak to him in happiness. any situation you can do, because he is your ultimate well-wisher. That is Suhrut, and that is Krishna. And Krishna says here, I am a Suhrut. And in some other verse in 529, we studied, Bhoktaram Yagat Tapasam Sarva Loka Maheshwaram Surt Sarva Bhutanam Nyativam Shatim Richati. So there also Suratam word comes. And then we find that, so this will go to the next one. The next three. So next three, Krishna says, Pravaha, Pralaya, Sthanam. What is Pravaha? Pravaha is, I am the creator. Srishti Karta, he is the creator. Then when creation unfolds, then that is coming from Mahavishnu. All the planets are emanating. When he's breathing out, all the planets are coming out, one after another. Infinite, millions and billions and trillions of planets, and the universes are coming out. What to speak? So he's Prabhava. And then if required, Pralaya. We studied in the previous thing during his opulence thing. When Brahma's one day, one kalpa is over, then automatically there is a partial dissolution. And when Brahma's life is over of his 100 years, which is 304 trillion, 40 billion years, that is Brahma's lifespan, when that happens, then complete dissolution happens. So for that also, the Lord is responsible. And all the jivas enter back into his body. So creation, destruction, and then sthanam, maintenance. The basis of all the things is sthanam, because you create something and you maintain it. And then the last two, Krishna is basically he's saying Nidhanam Bijam Avyayam. So Nidhanam is what? He's the resting place. He's a real treasure house. Whatever we want, he's providing us. He's a repository, completely. And then, of course, he's the Bijam. And what type of Bijam? He is Avyayam. Avyayam means imperishable. He is completely inexhaustible. So in this material world, if you get a seed, you plant it, the seed grows into a plant, but that seed loses its form. That's because the seed has become a form. And that's the end of that seed. Then, of course, fruits will come, and from fruit, the seed will come. Then again, it goes on. But here, the original form of Krishna as a seed continues, despite the fact that creations are taking place, several creations, but his original form as a cowherd boy continues in so many different ways. So that way we understand Krishna's greatness also. So these are the 13 adjectives. Then we go to the verse number 19. So 19 is also the verse that is talking about Vishwarupa Upasana. What is this verse? Tapami aham varsham nigranami utsajami cha amritam chaiva mrityuscha sadasad chaham arjuna. So here Krishna says, O Arjuna, I give the heat and I withhold it. I send forth the rain. So Arjuna, I give the heat and I withhold and send forth the rain. I am the immortality, and I am also the death personified. Mrityuscha. Both spirit and matter are in me. So here, Tapyami, so basically, Tapyami is heat. Tapayami is heat, and I am the one who is giving this heat. Aham, Varsham. So Varsham is basically rain. So I am the cause of all the rains. Then he radiates the heat, which condenses into, say, the moisture over the bodies of water, and this goes above as clouds, and then he sends it back in abundance during the monsoon time. So whenever he wants, say during the summer, evaporation takes place, so the rain is withheld. Nigranami. And then during Utsarjami, then when the rain, see, monsoon season starts, he is giving us incessant rain. So whenever he wants, he says, I withhold. Whenever he wants, he says, I send rains. Then Amritam are completely, worshipping me. I am immortality for them, because they really understand that they are this soul, Atma. They get the realization, so immortal. For other people who identify themselves with body, especially materialistic people in the material world, I am death personified. Mrityuscha. Then Sad, Asad, Chaham, Arjuna. So I am both the spirit and matter. That is subtle body also, and I'm also the gross body. That is how we can understand. Now, let's go into take a deep dive, because this Vishwarupa, the people who are worshipping Vishwarupa, and the people who go beyond Vishwarupa to worship, that is devotees. So to understand this, I have taken a very simple, uh, mundane example from the material world, corporate world. Okay. Now let's say take the case of Microsoft as a company. Microsoft, is a worldwide operation, and who is the CEO and chairman? Satya Nadella. Okay. Now, if you see the organized chart, it's got so many different departments, global hubs, research labs, in various countries and so on. But Satya Nadella is the chairman and CEO, and he continues to basically drive policies. He drives the various expansion plans across the globe. He drives strategies, how to drive profits, the strategies for that. And so who does all that, and who governs the research labs? Now the research labs are to be set up for developing new products, isn't it? So all that things are happening at the top level. So it's top driven policies, and then it is percolating down across the various hubs, across the various countries of Microsoft, across the various departments, for which there is Satya. So in that sense, Satya is all pervading across the entire organization, across the complete shareholders. He remains with them through their directions, through their policies, through their goals. Am I right? So in this way, we see that Satya is present throughout. But who is responsible for execution? Who is responsible for supervision? Who is responsible for the administration? All this is done by different department heads, different hubs, and different research labs. So ultimately, it is Satya who is overall it. So when you see in that sense, it works something like a well-oiled, machine, and with a huge workforce of about say 2 lakhs or excess, something like 2,38,000 employees around the world. So it's like one big family tree. You can see this one big family tree, and this family tree is headed by one and only one Satya for the last 10 years. And then, of course, he'll continue as long as he's performing well. But till the time he is there, it is that person who is the head of the entire tree. Now, if you see this way, when you think of the entire way that it operates, if somebody might think that, okay, the cost for the entire success is basically the huge workforce of Microsoft, his employees. It is correct. In one sense, it is correct. The 2 lakh employees are the secret behind Microsoft getting so successful. But and then of course they are into profits of, and the revenue is something like 280 odd billion. And the company is maintained so well. So ultimately, each and every employee is contributing. But if I think that Microsoft for me is the entire group of this people, in one sense it is right. But if I go beyond that, I will start seeing the man behind this, that is Satya. So the credit must go to Satya, because Satya has developed the organization into a $280 billion odd company, and he is maintaining it so well. So in the same way, Krishna is basically giving us heat, he is giving us light, he is giving us electricity and everything. He controls the rain, stops the rain. Then in the monsoon, he sends then in the form of rain, and because of that, the crops are growing, flowers are blooming, and all prosperity is happening because of the rain. The grains are coming. So in that way, Krishna is with us completely throughout the life. We see Krishna is there as a Paramatma in the soul. He is giving energy to the child. He is giving the knowledge to the adult when we grow, and then to the older person, he is giving proper guidance. What next? And he's there at the end of the life also. So Krishna is there with us throughout this journey of life, and therefore we should be able to see Krishna everywhere, not only in the tree, in the sky, in the stars, in the food that we eat, like Krishna Prasadam, in the scriptures that we read, in the temple that we visit, he's definitely present there. In the home that we live in, Krishna is present there also. Krishna is present as a life, as a spirit in the child. Krishna is present in other living beings like cow also. So he's present everywhere, even among the inanimate mountains, rivers, everywhere. He's the spirit behind all that. So just as the Microsoft employees are able to see Satya everywhere in their work through his direction, policies, and strategies, we should be able to see Krishna everywhere through all these creations that he has made. So, in other words, this all these things sum up is Krishna's one whole universe form. Okay, that is the essence of this word. So this gigantic universal form or the Vishwaroop is also Krishna. Okay, but Vishwaroop Upasakas, they worship him indirectly. That's what Krishna is saying. Because they are worshipping the different parts of his Vishwaroop. Some are worshipping the hand, some are worshipping his leg, some are worshipping his belly. They are all different forms, like planets, the stars, the solar systems, aquatics, the rivers, mountains, devatas, human beings, everybody is included in that. So if you see this way, in one form or other, so all those things are included. So in other words, this universe is the form of Krishna. So Vishwarupakas are basically worshipping this form, and this Krishna says is an indirect form of his worship. Just as Satya is a person beyond Microsoft, Krishna is a person beyond this universe, and he should be understood as a source of this universe, and is one sense the universe also, but he's a source behind it because everything emanates from him. And the real Krishna, he sits in Vrindavan. We should try to understand this Krishna. We should go beyond understanding him as a universe to understand this Krishna. That is devotion. And what is this Krishna? He is the Krishna who is playing the flute. He's got the three-banded form. Shyamam Tribanga Lalitam Niyata Prakasham Govindam Adi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami. So he plays flute nicely. Bharapidam Natavara Vapu. He's wearing a peacock feather ornament on his forehead. Then he's got nice flowers. He's got what is that? Vaijanti Mala on his body. Very beautiful flowers are there. Then he's got Pitambar, yellow garment on his waist, you can see. And then beyond all, you can see that he's playing with the gopas and the gopis. And he's playing with the cows. He's nicely playing the flute. So this is what we have to understand, the real Krishna. The real Krishna is somebody who is beyond this universe. And that is what Krishna wants. He wants us to come to him, and he gets pleasure in that. So in the various pastimes of the Lord, we should try to understand. That is devotion. So in summary, what we can say in this verse 19 is that Krishna no doubt gives us light and heat. Krishna no doubt controls the rain. He withholds it. Krishna no doubt gives life, and he is there throughout with us till the end. We can see Krishna everywhere through his creation, because this one whole universe is the form of Krishna. But at the end of the day, Krishna is who he is, 200 form, sitting in Vrindavan and playing the flute and having various pastimes with the gopis and the gopas. That is what is the real Krishna. So Krishna is everywhere. Everything comes from him. He is lovingly caring for all. Okay. So this was verse number 19. Now we go to verse number 20. So here we come to the point, that is Pratvaktena worshippers. That is people who worship Devatas, the diversity, different demigods they worship. So the previous category, so first category was Ekatvena, people who think that they are God. Second category was Vishwarupa worshippers, that is the universe as God. And this is the third category now, that is Pratvaktena. Is more or less like the Vedic rituals, people who perform Vedic rituals. You can see that these people, they are very good in their Vedic knowledge. That's why they're called as Trivedis. Somebody who's got all the three Vedas knowledge, Samaveda, Yajurved, and this Atharvaved, and all that. So all this Ved is Papatan. People who are experts in that, they are called Trivedis. So Traividyamam Soma Paha Putopa, Traividyamam Soma Paha Puta Papa, Yagner Istva Swargatim Prarthyante, Te Punyamasadya Surendra Ashnanti Devyan Divideva Bhogan. The beautiful verse, because this verse shows the real ticket to go back to not to Goloka, but to go to the heavenly planets. Because this verse is primarily talking about how one can worship the demigods, devatas, and they are worshipping devatas to get certain material benefits as per the prescription of the various Vedas. So, Traividyamam Soma Papa. So, let's try to understand this in a more vivid translation is given here. Those who study the Vedas and drink the Soma juice. So, Soma juice is a special juice that is available in the heavenly planets. So, when they drink that, they seeking heavenly planets, they worship me indirectly. Krishna himself is saying. And by drinking the Soma juice, they are purified by sinful reactions. But ultimately, what happens? They take birth on the pious heavenly planet of Indra, that is Surendra Lokam, where they enjoy godly delights. So they end up enjoying the godly delights, heavenly planets. So these three, Samaveda, Yajurveda, and Rigveda, these three Vedas are actually essence which show us how to go to heavenly planets. Atharvaveda is also there, but Atharvaveda is more closer to Bhakti. So that's why these three Vedas are typical Vedic rituals. All those things about sacrifices are given in these three Vedas, Samaveda, Yajurveda, and Rigveda. And a Brahmana who is completely well versed with these three Vedas is called a Trivedi. So Traividya. So Traividya Mam Soma. That's what it is mentioned here. So they are the knowers of these three Vedas. They follow the the Karma Kanda process of Vedic rituals. They worship them very systematically, very nicely, and they try to please Indra. And as a result, they do it through Yagya. And as a result, they get Swargalok. And Swargalok, what happens is they get Somapa. They drink the juice, which is some sort of an Amrit. Not exactly an intoxicating drink like an alcohol or something, but it is Soma takes our consciousness to some extent to Sattva, but then ultimately it is primarily meant for enjoyment. And then they do work which are suitable for Swargalok, Puta Papa. So following these two steps, they're primarily the sins get destroyed. All their the obstacles come out of the way, and they attain the Swarga Gata, Swarga, and they do the Yagya to reach Swarga. And they worship Indra, they worship various demigods, Surya, Chandra, Vayu, Varuna, even Yama, the god of justice, and they get Swarga Gatim. Swarga Gatim. So to go to Swarga, they have accumulated so much of punya, because we accumulate punya when we do a pious activity in Bhuloka. And because of this punya, and then they perform yagya and they drink soma, they achieve the destination of Swargalok, Surendra Lokam. And then what happens? Te punyam ashadya, they acquire adequate punya, so they attain that. And then what happens is Ashnati Divyan, they enjoy innumerable number of years, long life compared to Bhuloka in celestial delights. So they will not have any sort of disease, what we are accustomed in the material world, but they will be completely enjoying, and the comforts will be much 1,000 times more, greater lifespan. They will be enjoying the celestial dances of Urvashi, Menaka, and all those people. And they will they will, from there they can even see the material planets. They can see the Bhulok also, and they will think that sometimes these people are unfortunate because they see that we are all the time fighting. In material world, it's quarrelsome. All the time there is quarrelsome. So those things are on a lesser degree, heavenly planets, Swargalo. So Krishna is saying that even though these people, Trivedis, are Traividya and they worship this, indirectly they are worshipping me only, but not directly. But they are worshipping through the medium of Devatas. Hmm? And because there is no desire for them to go to Goloka Vrindavan. They just want to enjoy this material world and stay in this Swargalok. It's like sometimes, when the child is demanding for the parents something which is insignificant in the eyes of the parents. Initially the parents try to dissuade, but then the child becomes restless. Then the parent becomes feel very frustrated. Hmm? Because the parent has got the ability or capability to give much higher things. But because the child is insisting for this lower thing, the parent also give way. So in the same way, we are insisting that we want this, and such people, they worship demigods, and then they primarily go to the planets of demigods. But Krishna says, I am the final goal. That should be the real goal. So studying, ultimately Krishna says, the knower of Vedas. By learning Vedas, I am to be known. But if you don't come to that realization, then what is the use of being a Trivedi? You're completely, not fulfilled the requirement of what Krishna is saying. So therefore, going to heavenly planets is just simply waste of time and energy. So, we understood Dhruva was somebody who wanted to have that. He had a strong desire for a kingdom that is material desire, of course, for a kingdom that is much, much bigger and opulent than his own father's kingdom. Because his father's, his stepmother insulted him, so he went in a fit of anger to the forest, and then he was praying. Fortunately, he got the blessings of Narad Muni, and Narad Muni said, "You pray to Narayan." So he Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. He was praying, and then his prayer constituted basically material desire. Oh my Lord, I want something, a planet or a place, kingdom, which is much superior to my father's kingdom. Okay, much more opulent, much more opulent than Brahma's kingdom. But the prayer was so intense that Krishna felt, sorry for him, that he's such a small young boy, 5 years, that he himself manifested what drew out of his bhakti, saw Krishna in the heart. Krishna came out and blessed him through his conch shell on the head. And then when Dhruva saw Krishna face to face, he said that, oh, I was just searching for a broken piece of glass. What is the use of this broken piece of glass when I found the most priceless jewel in front of me? So his desires completely transformed. This shows that he transformed from material desire to spiritual desire. And accordingly, the Lord awarded him Dhruva planet, which is a spiritual planet. So therefore, the lesson is that we have to all the time chant Krishna's name, try to understand and learn about Krishna, and we keep growing in bhakti, and so that we know that Krishna will not leave our hand, and chanting and learning together like the way we are doing now, it will help us to grow, because the enjoyment that we can ultimately get from devotion surpasses all other material enjoyment that one can get in the heavenly kingdom. The happiness is much, much higher. It's bliss. It is ever increasing. It can never stop at that stage. Okay. Then Krishna says in verse 21 that what a disaster. He says that even after going to heavenly planets, what happens? Let's read this verse. Tetam bhuktva sarvaloka vishalam shane punyamartya lokam vishanti evam tarai dharma mano prapanna gata gatam kama kama labante. So this is very significant because this is called the law of diminishing merit. That means whatever pious credit we had accrued in this Mritya Loka, Bhuloka, Because of that and our yagya practices, this person, Trivedi, he went up to the heavenly planets. And now he's enjoying so much that all his pious credit is now getting slowly exhausted. So that is called the law of diminishing merit. And then what happens? After the complete exhaustion of all his merits, he plunges back into this Mrityaloka. When they have thus enjoyed vastly the heavenly sense pleasure and the results of all their pious activities are exhausted, they return back to this mortal planet again. What a disaster. Thus, those who seek sense enjoyment by adhering to the principles of three Vedas achieve only repeated birth and cycle. So they have never achieved, understood the purpose, the main suffering. The main suffering their devotees in this material world is not poverty. It is not lack of knowledge or education. The main purpose is, the main problem or suffering is birth, death, old age, disease. The real Vidwan is the one who tries to address this rather than addressing something else. The other things will help you to grow to an extent that you can only understand and go to heavenly planets. But then, after all your pious credits are exhausted, you come back again. So, Krishna says here, Tetam bhuktva swarga lokam vishalam. So, when they have exhausted, when they have enjoyed the vast heavenly sense of pleasure in Swarga, te punyam ashadaya. After you acquire the punya from the previous verse, we saw that Shune punya martya lokam vishanti. And when this results of the pious activities are completely exhausted, mritya lokam vishanti, they come back to the earth planet and they return back to the mortal world. What a disaster. So this is like a snake and ladder. We play the game of snake and ladder. We have all played it in our childhood. We go up to 98 and then there's a big snake, isn't it? That brings us to 3 or 4 or somewhere like that. So that is the problem. When we go to heavenly planets, we again come back. We are never happy there eternally. So gata gatam, and we are once again subjected to gata gatam, that is repeated birth and death. Kama kama, and we once again try to seek sense enjoyment and we get nothing. And all our desires will once again manifest into the same way. So we keep doing this up and down business, life after life, without even realizing. So you can see here, baby becomes child becomes adult, from adulthood to old age, then once again baby. So this goes on and on. Whether you are in the Mrityaloka or whether you are in the Swargaloka, demigods cannot give us permanent results. They will give us only temporary results. And after the temporary results are exhausted, once again we are subjected to the same thing. So this should be the real learning for us. Oh my Lord, I want to come to you. I want to be permanently happy with you. So Krishna says, if you remember the second chapter also we studied, Krishna says men of smaller or lesser intelligence, they get attached to the flowery words of Vedas. So this is very important thing. We have to now connect whatever we have learned before. We are again, Krishna is emphasizing the same thing here. So men of smaller intelligence are getting attracted towards the flowery words of Vedas, small knowledge. And as a result, they do all these fruitive activities for elevation to the heavenly planets. In second chapter, Krishna had mentioned this. So that's why King Kulasekara is actually giving us a nice piece of wisdom. Kulasekara is saying, now let me see which meter can I read this. He loka shrinuta prasutti marana vyade chikitsam imam yoga nya samudra dharanati munayo yam yagnava kyadaha antar jyotir amayam ekam amritam krishnakhyam apiyatam tatpitam parama aushadam vitanute nirvanam atyantikam. He says, oh people, no, he is addressing people like us. Please hear this treatment of the disease that is in this world. What is the disease? Birth and death. It is the name of Krishna. That is, he says, take the name of Krishna, which is the Aushadhi, recommended by Yagyavalka, the other experts steeped in wisdom. This boundless, eternal, inner light of the best medicine, that is the name of Krishna. When we drink it, it bestows complete and final liberation. Just drink it. So this is the word of wisdom from Mukund Mala Stotra. That is the medicine for material disease is Krishna's holy name. So this is what we should do. So you can see when we do that, we get this world, of course, is a world of duality. When there is happiness, there is suffering also. There is nothing is fixed. Temporary phase, peace, distress, happiness, sorrow, success, failure, victory, defeat, pleasure, pain. So this material world, there's no lasting peace at all. The world is full of dualities, and one moment you're on the top of the world, next moment you're coming crashing down. So we have to aim big. And the big aim is to escape to the spiritual world by saying Tata to the material world. So let's plan to go to spiritual world by embracing the teachings of Krishna and by practicing, because the material world is full of darkness and it therefore needs sun for illumination. Whereas the spiritual world is something that is eternal. Then let's go to verse number. So actually it should have been verse number 22. I'm flipping it. Okay, 1 second. Yeah. So I'm flipping it because verse number 22 is talking about bhakti. So I've kept it in the end. And verse 23 is actually continuing the Devata worship. Krishna talks. So I didn't want an interruption in that. So therefore, for our own benefit, I put verse number 23 first, Avidhi Purvakam. And then we'll go to verse number 22 because that is talking about bhakti. Okay. So what is verse number 23? It says, Yappi anya devata bhakta yajante shraddhayanvitaha tepi mam eva kaunteya yajanti avidhi purvakam. So here he talks about what is avidhi purvakam. Avidhi purvakam means worshipping Krishna in a wrong way. Okay. So he talks about those are the devotees of other devatas. Yajante Shraddhayanvita, who worship them with faith. Okay, Tepi Mam Eva Kauntaya, but actually they don't know they're actually worshipping me, O son of Kunti, but they're doing it in a wrong way. Yajanti Avida Purvakam. So Krishna is giving us a clear indication that those who are devotees of the other gods and who worship them with faith are actually worshipping me only. But, O son of Kunti, they are doing so in a wrong way. And what is that wrong way? Avidhi Purvakam. So let's quickly see what is this. So here, I think we have done this example several times. From Bhagavatam, we have learned this, that the Virat Roop actually shows different devtas as part of Lord's body. Just like how it is shown here, the leaves and the fruits are part of the tree. So now what does Krishna say in Bhagavatam? In Bhagavatam, he says, the verse is also there on the screen for everyone. Yata taror mula nischanena triptyanti taskanda bhujo pakshaka pranopashara chayatendriyanam tateva sarvaharam achyuteja. That means it's very clear. So we go back to the previous. So here you can see here we cannot be feeding the leaves, the twigs and the branches water. Where should we pour water for the nourishment of the tree? We should pour it in the root. Okay. So in the similar way, what these people do, the people who are worshipping other devatas, they start worshipping Indra, Chandra, Varuna, Surya, Agni, etc. instead of watering Krishna, instead of worshipping Krishna. So this is a avidhi purvakam. So this is exactly what Krishna is saying. And then he's also giving an example, as we saw here. That means here what they're doing is basically trying to give food to the hand, to the leg, to the eyes, and to the ears, instead of giving the food directly to the stomach. If you give food directly to the stomach, then what happens? It nourishes the entire body. So another analogy, beautiful analogy. So instead of that, if you put food in your can you pour sambar into your eyes and then put some rice into the ears? No. If you do that, it will be disaster. Instead of that, we should put it through the mouth into the stomach. It has to reach the stomach, and then only the other parts are equally nourished. So that is what actually Krishna is saying here, that Krishna is actually Krishna worship includes different types of worship. Like even his expansions, like Vishnu Tattva, Rama, Narayan, Narsimha, Matsya, everything is included. So that he appears in different incarnation, that's all. But the Devtas like Indra, Chandra, Surya, Durga, Yama, Saraswati, all these people are appointed representative supervisors by the Lord. They are to be understood as administrators, supervisors for the universal affairs, as we saw in the example of Satya and his team managing the Microsoft company. So they are appointed, they have got certain qualifications. So these are like positions they are holding. Their tenure could be like one mantra, and one mantra is a lot of time. It's like 71 Divya Yuga. One Divya Yuga is the combination of that is this Chatur Yuga, no? Kali Yuga, Dwapar, Treta, and Satya Yuga. That is one Divya Yuga. So 71 such Divya Yuga is the life of one mantra, one Manu, and that is actually the position, the time that it takes to change the position of the Devtas. They also change. So this kind of demigods, they keep coming and going. It's not permanent. So Devtas also have to vacate their post after each manvantara. So when we understand that, then we don't no more try to worship, because at the end of the day, worshipping a demigod is, the analogy is like going to the government officer and trying to bribe him. So we should say, sorry sir, I'm not going to bribe you. I'm directly going to go to Krishna. That's the right way. I don't want to do Avidhi Purvakam. I'll directly go to Krishna and I'll worship him. So the demigods will not feel offended, because we ourselves go and worship him. That's the problem. So it's equivalent to bribing a government officer to get our work done. So let us be smart enough and avoid that step and go directly, because Krishna taught through Govardhan Leela that he can even crush the pride of the so-called demigods. Indra was having the pride, so that pride, because these people are worshipping him and he had that pride. So to crush that pride, Govardhan Leela was actually performed, pastime was performed by the Lord. So this is how actually we say. So Krishna is basically, we worship through love. Patram pushpam phalam toyam yome bhakta prayaschita. That is what we should try to do. So we basically, when we say that we will not worship demigods, we will not show any disrespect to them, we will respect them, we will pay obeisance to them also, but our worship will be directed towards Krishna, because Krishna is present in each and every creation, in each and every parts, in each and every jiva. Okay, so basically we should understand that just like we serve the root for the nourishment of the tree, just we serve the food in the stomach for the nourishment of the body. Similarly, Krishna is the ultimate beneficiary. No need to give any bribes, no need to worship any devatas. Directly we can worship Krishna. That is bhakti. We can, ignoring Krishna is like ignoring Krishna is ignorance, you can say. I mean, ignore Krishna, it's ignorance. But worshipping Krishna and seeing everyone in relation to Krishna is the real knowledge. Okay. Now we come to verse number 22, which I had flipped. Now you can see the beauty of this verse, because this is bhakti. So here Krishna basically tells us three things to do, and he will do two things for us. Very simple. So what are the things? We'll read this verse now. Ananya chintayanto mam ye jana paripasate tesham nitya viyuktanam yogakshemam vahamyaham. Such a beautiful verse, very famous verse, because this is a real, ultimately hope-giving verse for each and every sadhakas. So you contrast this with the worshippers indirect worshippers. How now Krishna reveals his complete unconditional support to the direct worshippers. If we worship him directly, Krishna promises what he can do for us. So whoever worships him with devotion, whoever remembers him or meditates upon his pastimes, Krishna is providing, is protection. What is that Krishna is saying? So let's see. Yeah. So the three things that we have to do. Those who think of me with undivided attention, ananya chintayanto mam. Those who worship me perfectly, ye jana pasate, then tesham nityabhi yuktanam. Those who are always engaged in my bhakti, satatam kirtayantamam. Exactly what we studied earlier. So these three things, if you do, then Krishna says, to them, yogakshemam vahamyam. To them, I carry what they lack and I preserve what they have. But those who always worship me with exclusive devotion, meditating on my transcendental form, to them I carry what they lack and I preserve what they have. Wonderful. So I'm just remembering the pastime of Dhruv Maharaj here. We discussed about this earlier. Dhruv Maharaj being insulted by his stepmother, he asked his real mother, Suniti, and she advised him to go to the forest and meditate. And then Dhruv Maharaj, without telling anyone, went to the forest. He met Narada. So who sent Narada there? So it is Krishna who sent Narada. So Krishna sent Narada for guidance, and therefore Dhruv Maharaj got his darshan. And then Narada gave him the mantra. So Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. So eventually, the 6 months that Dhruva was praying, he ultimately got the darshan of the Lord in person. That is Shemam. So Yoga Kshemam. So we may take a lot of credit in what we are doing in Bhakti Yoga, but ultimately the guidance and knowledge is for the Bhakti Yoga is also coming from Krishna. Our role is just to perform sincere desire. When we perform sincere seva, when we do sincere seva, then rest he takes care. So Krishna is basically providing everything to the devotees. Even if he's aspiring a big car or a big home, or something a devotee might desire, Krishna will provide it, provided it is 100% required for bhakti. Else he will take it away. Suppose if this car and big house are a hindrance for bhakti, then he will feel it is not needed, so he will take it away. But if he feels that this big car and this big home are needed for bhakti, then he will provide. This fruit vendor pastime, baby pastime of Krishna, this fruit vendor came to sell fruits. And what did Krishna do? Krishna carried little grains in his palm. This grains was falling in his little palms. He could not hold it. And when he came out of this Nanda Bhavan, almost nothing was there in his palm. And he wanted to give to the vendor. But the fruit vendor was so stunned by Lord's beautiful form that she gave away all his fruits, which she was carrying in the basket. And Krishna, in reciprocation, filled his basket with what? With jewels and gems and silver and whatnot, diamonds, everything. She was not interested in that, even though she did have it. She was lacking it, but Krishna provided, because Krishna knows that she will not misuse it, because her attention was fully on Krishna, and that is on bhakti. So, and similarly, we understand even in Sudama's example. Sudama lacked what? Sudama was a very poor. He was poverty-stricken. So here Sudama provided what Sudama here Krishna provided what Sudama lacked. So Sudama's story is like rags to riches. He had however, he had a slight tinge of pride. His pride was that little bit that he's detached from all this worldly opulence. He said, even though if I am starving, I will not go to beg before anyone. That was little pride in him. So Krishna made him humble by taking away that pride and giving him prosperity. So in that way, Krishna gave him that also. And same applies to Bali Maharaj. Bali Maharaj also was proud of his riches. So here it was riches to rag story. So he came in the form of Vamana Dev. Krishna came in the form of Vamana Dev and took away all his possessions one by one. Because Bali Maharaj was proud. I am a great charitable person. He was proud of his charity, the charity propensity. So Krishna said, oh, you're proud of charity? Let me see how much you can give me. So in 2 steps, Krishna exhausted all his charity, and then Bali Maharaj had nothing. He said, 3rd step you keep on my head, O Krishna. So Vamana came in that form and he tricked him. So That way, but then Krishna gave him what? Krishna gave him all the, he made him humble. The humility was given to Bali Maharaj, and which is essential for bhakti. He gave him bhakti. So sometimes Krishna gives power and prosperity to a devotee if he is confident that his devotee will not misuse it, and sometimes he will take it away if he feels that it is coming in the way of his preaching. So this way we can see that Krishna balances his act for the devotees. So Yogakshema, so somebody who's always absorbed 24 hours a day, that is Ananya Chintayantamam, so always hearing, chanting and serving the Lord. So these are three things that we do, focusing upon the object of worship. The Krishna from his side will do Yoga Kshemam. That is, yoga is, he carries basically connecting to Krishna. Yoga is connection. So he carries what the devotee lacks, and he Kshemam, he basically preserves what the devotee already has. So that is his mercy component, merciful protection. So in this way, we can understand that when we all the times think of Krishna by hearing, chanting, remembering, praying, worshipping, all the time serving, being a friend of him, and surrendering to him, all the time when you think and worship him in this way, then Krishna, and we serve him also, then Krishna really loves that approach, and he does Yogakshemam Vahamyam. He carries with him what is good for us, and he takes away what is bad for us. So the same way we understand in the mundane thing, that a mother never thinks to serve her child is a burden. It is purely love. In that way, Krishna serves the devotee. A father all the time works hard to maintain his children. He never thinks this is a burden. So similarly, Krishna protects his devotee and provides what they what is required for them for spiritual welfare. And in short, Krishna helps this devotee to grow further by providing all the amenities, and then Krishna preserves what we have and takes away what is not required for bhakti. In this way, Krishna shows that he cares for his devotee. So ultimately, the message is that Krishna protects his devotee through Yogakshemam Vahamyam. That is why we should all the time remember him and depend upon him. That is the lesson we get from this one. So sorry for this long session today. Thank you very much. And now what we can do is we can open for, not for questions, but we'll go to the quiz. Okay. I'll stop sharing this, and then I'll open the quiz questions, because that can allow everyone to participate in the sections of quiz. All right. So quiz for, okay. One second. Just 1 second. Yeah. Is it visible?
Yes, Prabhuji.
Oh, you're there today. Very great. When did you join?
Just joined 10 minutes back.
So you are sure that this is going to be an extended session? Okay. Let's open up the floor for the quiz. Question number 1 on the screen. Which of the following is mentioned by Lord Krishna in verse number 18 as one of his identities? The goal, that is Gatir. The witness, that is Sakshi. The seed, that is Bijam Vyayam. The shelter, that is Sharanam. All of the above. Yes. Who raised their hand first? Was it Srinidhi?
Abhijit Prabhuji. Abhijit.
Okay. Yes, Abhijit, go ahead.
Hare Krishna Prabhu. I think the answer is E, all of the above.
All of the above. Are you sure? Absolutely sure?
I think so, Prabhu. So many options to choose from.
Okay. I lock it. Shall I lock it?
Yes.
All right. The answer is A, B, and D, and not C. Can anybody point out why it is not C? Read carefully. Can anyone point out? I'm sure most of you must have thought of E only as the answer, but the answer is a googly. It is A,
I thought,
B, and D.
Prabhu, we cannot pick three options at once. So I thought, let's go with E. Although I knew that there were four things Krishna said, and it was not the shelter.
No, shelter is there. D is the shelter. I'm saying it is C is not there. C is not there. Why C is not there in the answer? That is my question.
You should read carefully. Only then you will make out.
Yes. What? Read carefully. Okay. I think people have not found it out. The reason is I have typed here as what I have
Yes.
typed here.
Hare
Bijam,
Krishna
double
Prabhuji.
E.
Sarvan Pranam.
Bijam Avyayam. I have typed Bijam Vyayam. Vyayam means perishable. Whereas Krishna says I am Bijam Avyayam. Got it? So we
Yes,
have to be very
Prabhuji.
careful while picking the answer. So it is, see, it's very logical to make this mistake because just you see everything, oh, it's all looks simple, and then I'll take answer E. That's why I put E also there. But I want you to think beyond. My quiz will be always like this. I'll make you think, not straightforward. That's why hear all the options, then raise your hand. Okay. Good try, Abhijit. I think most of you must have thought of E only, but I played some little bit more here so that it will make it little tougher. Okay, no problem. You have participated. That is very, very important, Abhijit. You have a chance to make up in the next question. Okay, we'll go to the next question
Thank
now.
you.
Okay, next question come here. Vishwato Mukam worshippers worship in oneness, thinking themselves as God, in diversity, in many forms as different devatas, with devotion as Ananya Bhaktas, Brahman effulgence assuming God is impersonal, none of the above. Yes, I think Sumati Mataji raised her
Sumati.
hand and Pooja.
Yes.
Okay, the Sumati Mataji raised first. Yes, Sumati Mataji,
Correct.
go ahead.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. I think it is E, none of the above, because Vishwato Mukham is the universal form of the Lord, that is worshipping him as the earth or, the cosmos. I mean, the
Right.
parts of the universe.
Right. Okay.
So I
So there,
would think it is E, none of the above.
all right. So I'll just go with your answer and see whether it is correct or wrong. Yes, you're indeed right. Very good.
Well
Very
done.
good. Well done. Well done. Keep it up.
Thank you.
Excellent. So now we go to the question number 3. What is the destination of those who perform Vedic sacrifices? There's hand raised already, Mataji. You can lower it so that we know it is. Yeah, thank you. Vaikunta, Swargaloka, Brahman realization, Goloka Vrindavan, None of the above. I see only one hand raised, which is Saptadeep. So I'll go with Saptadeep. Mitali and Pooja have raised later. They'll get a chance in the next question, maybe, if Saptadeep. Let's see. Yes, Saptadeep, go ahead.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Dhanavad Pranam. It's option B, Sargaloka.
Confident, huh? Straight away.
Yeah.
All right. I will lock this and we'll see what is the correct answer. And the answer is B. Very good. Very good.
Hare
Keep it
Krishna.
up. Well done. Okay, now let's go to question 4. So the people who have missed earlier, like I think Manisha or Mithali, who can now try now. It's a good chance. And if you happen to raise along with the people who have raised before, who have answered, they will get a chance also. What does Krishna personally do for those who worship him with exclusive devotion? That's Ananya Bhakti. Gives them full material prosperity. Okay, Manisha has raised. Carries them what they lack and preserves what they have. Yogakshamam Vahamyam. Withdraws their opulence immediately. Sends them to heavenly planets from where they never return. And is all of the above. So I see Manisha, Mitali, Saptadeep, and Pooja, and Rameshji also. But Manisha had raised earlier also, and Manisha raised first now, I think. So I'll give her a chance. Yes, Manisha, go ahead.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Dhanavad
Hare
Pranam.
Krishna. Yeah.
It is B option, Prabhuji, before Balram.
Okay, I will lock B, and we shall see the correct answer. Yes, is indeed B. Very good. Well done, Manisha. Keep it up. Now the last question of the day comes up. Avidhi Purvakam means, is that hand raised by Sumati Mataji for the earlier question or? Yeah, okay, thank you. Worship of forefathers, worship of impersonal Brahman, worship of Krishna with faith, worship of demigods with faith, but indirectly Krishna in a wrong way. None of the above. Yes, I think Srinidhi is the only one who has raised, and Pooja Sharma also has raised. So, but Srinidhi raised first. And Srinidhi, have you answered once before? No.
No, Prabhuji.
No. So you get a chance to answer this. Go ahead.
Option D.
Option D, that is worship of demigods with faith, but indirectly Krishna in a wrong way, correct? That's what you selected, no?
Yes.
Okay, I'm locking it. And let's see what the answer is. Hope it is correct. And it is correct. Very good. Keep it up, Srinidhi. Well done. Thanking all the participants who have participated. Don't worry, Abhijit, for the wrong answer. It was a little bit googly compared to the other questions, which are straightforward. But you made a spontaneous effort that is very, very important and good, appreciated. And with that, we will conclude the session. I will just share the reflection question on the screen, and I'll be posting it on the chat box also of the WhatsApp, not here on the WhatsApp. Think of an important relationship in your life. Ask yourself the following questions. How do you see that individual, and what is the basis of your relationship with him, her? What behavior, attitudes block that relationship from blossoming? And what could you do to change that? Third question, how could you incorporate more spirituality into that relationship so that it is based on a higher principle? Fourth one, what would selfless service look like in this relationship? So this is a very thoughtful reflection question, and some basis is there for today's explanation of Krishna's reciprocation towards us, how he is at where he is and how he is still considering us, and from that what we can learn and practice in our relationship with our with whomever we have relationship. So you pick any one such relationship and you can analyze that and in the present situation and what you need to do to bring in that spirituality from today's learning. Okay, and presented that in about 3 days' time. And the last reflection was presented, and I have replied to some of you. 1 or 2 are still pending, which I will reply in either today or tomorrow. But it was a good attempt by several people in the last reflection. And thank you